Okay, so I want anyone to ask questions about the conductive material and what that means. What am I saying, right? I'm saying that directed energy weapons are accessing conductive material in your body that's creating the effects that you know as being targeted, that the general public calls Havana syndrome. Okay? It's one and the same thing. Those aren't two separate. Yes, I mean, nanotechnology was developed on one side, directed energy weapons were developed on another side, synthetic biology, it doesn't matter. A lot of these things were developed independently of each other, and then they came together sometime during 1990s. 1996 is when they started spraying the chemtrails, which was the nanotechnology. 2002 is when we saw our first burst of people experiencing the confluence of the weapon systems, which we would call the original, quote, Morgellons sufferers. That's what they were. They were being targeted by a similar apparatus that most targeted individuals are dealing with, which is private military contractors, but they were attacking whole communities at that time, more so than individuals. I know the big Morgellons study in Northern California, where 6,000 people got infected in the span of 90 days. I think it was out of, was that Redmond? It's whatever they are. I think that's Redmond. Redding. That doesn't matter. It's the Northern Californian city of some size, right? I would say significant. Redding, thank you. I think it was 6,000 to 8,000 people infected, and this was happening in 2006 because there was such a local epidemic. What's that? It's an epidemic when it's local versus a pandemic. Because it was so localized, the CDC had to respond. At first, they denied, that it was happening to the people, and then they had to respond because there was so much public pressure on the local governments. So they hired Kaiser to cover it up. By 2008, they said all those people were delusional. The 6,000 to 8,000 people that were all infected in the span of 90 days. Now, who did that, right? That was the U.S. military utilizing private military corporations to target a wide swath of the population with nanotechnology and directed energy weapons. But again, they were using ambient undirected energy weapons to get the nanotechnology to grow versus causing physical pains in a person like they're doing now. Okay, so 6,000 people basically got sprayed, over and over in that period of time leading up to that 90 days. And one by one, families were infected. Children, women, men, seniors, elderly, disabled, didn't matter. They did it. They just did it because they could do it, and they needed to do it to get the research to do what they're doing to us. And again, the bigger depopulation effort that we're currently dealing with. That was, again, 2006. I know in 2016, they did a similar, almost the exact same thing to a fishing village in Nigeria. I've got that video saved away. I just stumbled across it, but it was crazy. They hit this whole village, got infected with, quote, Morgellons all at the same time. I think what they were testing there was if they could get the fish to be carriers of it, because the fishermen are the first ones that got it, and they had it all in their hands where they were touching and interacting with the fish that they had. And I'm going to show you one of these experiments, so please keep yourself muted for just a while. I'm going to show one of these experiments they did in Africa, just so you get this. I'm not just saying this is just targeted people. This is everybody. And this is one of the big experiments that they've, and now this is rolled out on everybody. This was like 10, 12 years ago they did this. Hold on a second. I'm turning the volume on.
Then you will be healed completely. Your DNA will heal itself within a year, year and a half. It's not a hopeless cause if you're one of these sufferers.
What I'm talking about there, for everyone that's interested in this video, it's Depopulation Survival Guide Morgellons 2.0, vaccine 3.0, and that's the number 61. And that is, I did that like 3 years ago. That's why I look so young in that. But I've aged a lot this last few years. But anyway, what I was saying is that if you eat enough alkaline food that's of high quality, that's not infected for enough time without reinfection, then you will clean your DNA of these transgenic nanotechnology infections, synthetic biology nanotechnology infections, which is, quote, Morgellons, right? That's that insect vector I was talking about earlier. Okay, this is the, okay, check this out. Oh, I see, this video I talk about the Northern California outbreak, like I talked about earlier. I'm just repeating this presentation I did 3 years ago.
Covered all of that.
But either way, here we go.
Here's another.
Okay, so I got this off the African Diaspora News Channel just because I followed them at the time because I wanted on-the-ground reporting of Africa that didn't come from the media. And this was just one of the videos I saw. My jaw about hit the floor when I saw this, that they had done this, and I knew exactly what it was. But you will too with everything we've talked about. I'm going to let it play now. The voice you hear is me talking 3 years ago.
Another experiment just like Northern California, just in a different place.
Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm right. A story out of Senegal. More than 500 fishermen have contracted a strange skin disease from the fishing waters. So the men are from different fishing towns that are nearing Dakar. Dakar is the capital city of Senegal. So they are quarantined currently and receiving treatment as well, according to the Director of Health Information and Education.
That's Morgellons.
Country. The symptoms suffered by these fishermen include lesions on their faces and some in their genital areas and all over the skin and the hands as well, and also high temperatures and headaches. So the first case was of a 20-year-old, and it happened on 17th of November.
I think what happened.
And that's when they noticed. And he had blisters, he had rashes, a swelling.
Oh my goodness, that's bad. I think what happened is that the powers that be, the powers that shouldn't be, spread a lot of these filaments in the food supply off the coast of Africa there. The fish ate it, and these fishermen dealt with these fish, cutting them up, grabbing them from these nets, whatever it may be, and probably maybe it was a little bit in the water too, I don't know. It seems to be that those two would go hand in hand, and they became infected. This was just another experiment being done on the population. This one was aimed at the third world. The last one we saw in Northern California was aimed at the first world. So this is for everybody, right?
On the face, dry lips, and redness of the eyes. So the Senegal's Ministry of Health and Social Action.
Look at that. Each one of those lesions right there is another form of cancer, basically. And each one of those harbors all sorts of parasitical growth in there that will end up killing them if they're not treated. This is a terrible thing. Right here, you can see it very pronounced. But we could go back to the other page if you want to see it on white skin. This is not a Africa thing. This is a worldwide thing. It's just these people were so untreated, and they're so vulnerable that it got so bad on them.
Said measures have been brought in while they
nanofibers all throughout their lymphatic system, subcutaneous layers.
Ban on all fishermen from going to the sea.
Look at those eyes. Look at those eyes. It makes you sick at the same time. It makes you so acidic and sick. And that's what this depopulation thing is really about. Whose DNA can accept this transgenic life form and then not murder them? That's all. If you are in the military apparatus, security apparatus, and you're watching this because you're trying to keep tabs on people's general understandings of this, you are not protected. There is nothing about you that is protected right now. The only people that are supposed to make it through these next few years, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, whatever it is, are the ones that have DNA that can support this nanofibrous growth. It's not nanofibers. Fibrous filaments growth, whatever you want to call them, in that cutaneous layer that can be the new slave that they wish. That's it. That is literally it. There are no protections for China.
Okay, this is me talking now, not from 3 years ago. The people that literally do this, that travel the world and do this, told me that firsthand. All right, those are Israeli private. They were working as private military at the time, but they were like Unit 8200 types, and then like some 100 millionaire types too, Israelis. It's not that Israelis are at the core of this; they're just another big player in it.
Chinese, Israelis, or Americans, or Germans, or whoever you think you are, that you're protected. That's just not true. That is 100% a lie they are telling you. They will consume all of you. Wake up.
Their Minister of Social Action and Health informed them that the cause of this disease is not viral.
Oh.
I'm going to quote his words.
What you're looking at is, I'm sorry for that, what you're looking at is the infection cracking the lips, and then a yeast growth and other parasites, bacterial it looks like. He's got a combination of things going on in his mouth right now. Just a real combination. And look at all those, look at all that underneath the skin there. He is just a walking transgenic. There's your future. You want to get into virtual reality? You got to grow this shit under your skin. You want the advancements of the new world that they're promising you? This is what it really is.
It gave us a better appreciation of the situation of affected fishermen, and we have a confirmation that the cause of the disease is not viral, and other avenues are being explored to find out more. In addition to this, he added that the Senegalese Navy is meant to be sent out to the sea to pick water samples for the analysis as they investigate this situation. Senegal is in Western Africa. It's in between Mauritania and the Gambia.
I'm sure Dakar, that's the city they targeted, so I'm sure they did it in the waters right here. I don't know who did it. If I had to guess, I'd say Israelis. They're usually the ones behind something like that. But it could have been anybody. It could have been Americans, could have been Chinese. I don't know. It's one of those groups. Russia could have been a private military contractor like Wagner or
All right, the rest is just me, right? And oh no, there's a little bit more.
Or could have been anybody like that that's willing to do anything for money. Pirates.
It's quite a small country. It has.
They're pretty much pirates.
People, but it is well known in Western Africa as a traditional fishing nation. So the country.
So what that means
relies on fishing as a major source of.
Exactly what she said. Healthy fish you can eat pretty much by itself and only eat fish. You'll be fine for the most part. You know, throw a little vitamin C in there, a little vitamin D, that type of thing. You'll be fine. But if you eat alkaline, if they were on a plant fibrous or a plant-heavy diet, then none of those people would be experiencing those symptoms. So it is what it is. Alkalinity, negative ions, stops the construction, stops the construction of nanomachinery within you, right? But because they're on a fish-heavy diet and the fish have been infected, this is what happens. The fishermen are the first one to get it.
Well, and let me say this too about that. Is that if they were on a plant-heavy diet, their plant food would be infected with the herbicides and pesticides, so they probably wouldn't get relief. Because that's probably why they targeted this Senegalese. It was Senegal, not Nigeria. Why they targeted this area is because of the fish, because they were on that fish diet. So it was like, how do we infect the population by hitting their food source, right? So start with the food source, make that the vector, and then see how far it goes out from there. That's probably the experiment, if you want to call it an experiment that they were doing, the research that they were gathering.
For the people, revenue as well, and also pride, because that's what they do. Fish in Senegal accounts for 75% of the protein intake in this country, and also employment is quite scarce in Senegal. So especially in the rural areas, the fishing industry, which has the fishermen, the fishmongers, the people who make the boats, indirectly or directly employs at least up to 600,000 Senegalese. So it's quite a big industry in Senegal. We've seen strange diseases coming out of the sea, with COVID started at the sea. Here is another strange disease starting at the sea. I'm not insinuating anything, of course, but I'm just saying, what do you think of these strange diseases just showing up, out?
Yeah, well, there is an implication there that she just doesn't want to make. Yes, Gigi in the text, I got that. What about potassium iodine to help Morgellons? Morgellons isn't real. The idea of Morgellons is just nanotechnology. Every person's got it in them. The difference between someone that identifies with Morgellons and someone that doesn't is the nanowalkers. That's it. That's all I can see. I might be wrong. Who knows? I might be wrong. But when you have these private military contractors in your area, I mean, they do this to strangers for a variety of reasons. I could tell a story about that, but they'll break into people's house, they'll spray those nanowalkers, and then you'll get that crawling sensation. Or you get one of the older forms of nanotechnology that comes from the insect vectors. Those are the only two groups that identify, I can tell, with Morgellons. And again, I might be wrong, but Morgellons is nanomachinery. To get rid of nanomachinery, it's everything we've been talking about, which again is the wearables using shapes, the cups, the etheric cup. I know some of you know this, some of you don't. I'm not going to go over right now. Using the electric wire, using the capacitors, the inductors. More so, though, the electric wire and the shapes will get you the most of where you want to be.
Tweet, tweet, tweet. Tweet, 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 tweet. Ooh, 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 ooh.